Recording in progress. In progress.
Đấy là phía tao
What's good, everyone? What's good, everyone? We're just waiting a few more moments for everyone else to join into the call. And yeah, we'll be getting started in about 5, 6 minutes. Thanks, Xavier and Rock K for being on time, and Christina. Much love and appreciation showing up for yourselves. Yeah, I appreciate everyone's patience. I'm just getting set up with things here, so I can be able to get started in just about 60 seconds. Right. Hello, hello. All right, so we are here today with the Dream Body Academy. And today, just want to take an opportunity to extend a happy new moment to everyone. We're in the Gregorian year of 2024, and this will be our first call of the year because nobody showed up on Wednesday, which I totally understand. Hope everybody had a amazing vacation and you guys are, making the best of your time. Let me see here. So I'm trying to see if this will load up. But yeah, so I'm not sure if we've ever had Xavier on the call here, but we'll take an opportunity to let everyone share any accomplishments, updates from the previous weeks over the holidays, over the new year. Maybe you spent the new year in a really cool way. Maybe you have some new goals or some new habits you've been trying to implement. So, it's a good opportunity to just briefly share some of those things, and I can see where everyone's head is at, see where everyone is in their journey right now while I get this note thing set up. So, yeah, anyone feel free to start with, celebrations, accomplishments, awarenesses, epiphanies, or just anything that's on your heart and mind today. Floor is open.
Hey, I'll start. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. So peace and light, everyone. I'm Ra, and I just wanted to say that one of my new, um, well, it's not really new, but it's new for me to be consistent with it, and that has been I've been consistent with meditating and journaling and like writing my gratitude every day. So that's one of my accomplishments. Um, so yeah, just wanted to share it with everyone and uh, wish you all the best. This journey is an interesting and fun one and enlightening.
Ashe, Ashe, congratulations on being more consistent with your, self-care and with your eating practices. And that's what it's all about. It's just, remembering that slow and steady wins the race. And yeah, progress over perfection. So, yeah. Christina, anything for us today?
Can you repeat that?
Anything for us today? Um, anything you'd like to share? Or anything you'd like to learn today and get more clarity on?
At the moment, no.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, I would like to start with pretty much a brief update about my last few weeks here in the tropics in Ecuador and just overall where I am in my personal health and self-actualization journey. So it all began with really the winter solstice around December 21st. And um, Xavier, if you're here, just say something in the chat. Make sure your chat is set to all attendees, everyone. and just want to know if you're here. You haven't necessarily responded, and I accidentally skipped over it. But yeah. So I'll start. December 21st.
Yes, I'm here.
I did awesome. Welcome to the chat, Xavier. Real quick, where are you calling in from? Where are you visiting us from?
Right now, currently in Georgia, but I'm flying out on Tuesday to Hawaii.
Oh, beautiful. That's the spirit. Gotta get out of the winter zone, get closer to the coconuts. So that's amazing.
Exactly.
Mhm. And real quick, how did you find out about the call today? Are you in the Dream Body Academy?
Yes, correct.
Awesome. And what's been your favorite part about the group, or what's your main like motivation for being in the group? What is it you'd like to accomplish or get some assistance with here?
So the biggest thing is I, well, I guess it tied into one of my goals slash intentions or resolutions for the years. I wanted to focus more on juicing, so I got a juicer recently, and so just to learn more about um, understanding which fruits I should be eating slash which ones, the benefits, and just getting a better understanding of how these uh, fruits and vegetables and a better lifestyle of eating is how it's affecting me, and seeing that in action and learning from someone who actually lives it. So just for more support and understanding, because this is all a bit new to me, not necessarily the knowing the fruits themselves, but knowing the benefits and such, and when to eat them.
Okay, awesome. And brief question, what kind of where would you say you are on like the dietary spectrum? There's standard American diet, which are pretty much like people just eat kind of whatever they want, whatever's available to them. Um,
Yeah, so I
or
would
have you
definitely
been
say at this
plant-based
stage
or
I'm
pescatarian?
on a standard American diet, but pushing towards trying to become just more holistically healthy in general. And so I guess my first step is why I'm heading towards the fruits and vegetables that are essential to getting away from kind of that classic diet that's slowly killing us.
Nice. Ashe, brother. Ashe, you're in the right place. And everything begins with the first step and with taking accountability and taking your life back into your hands. So amazing, beautiful step in
Exactly.
the group and being on the call here today. So beautiful.
Thank you
I'll
for
keep
having me,
your
guys. And
oh yeah.
guys.
Yo, Ashe, welcome to the club. So I'll keep your narrative in mind as I share a little bit about what I want to share this evening, and then I'll take some questions and we'll get into like some actual implementation, strategizing stuff for the people here on the call and what people can do to pretty much do what Xavier is doing, which is like a lot of people are maybe somewhere in the middle between um, being aware that there's a better way to live in their own body and actually doing things to experience that. So, yeah, welcome everyone to the call and those who are watching the replay. Congratulations on being here. So, yeah, I'll just start with what I've been experiencing the past 2 or 3 weeks. So, December 21st, you guys in the group know we hosted the 3-day Grape Challenge, and my partner and I, Christina, we actually did we started maybe a couple days early and did like fully raw, mostly fruits, maybe a salad or something. I don't remember. But the challenge for us was going to be the feast or the detox was going to be grapes and green juices primarily for 3 days. So we did that for 3 days, pretty much had like 5 or 6 days fully raw before we intentionally broke fast in terms of adding in non-cleansing foods back into our diet, to be honest. That's just a better way to think about things. Your foods are either cleansing or building or nourishing or intoxicating, which we'll get to those, which foods to avoid. Um, so that was really enlightening for us and pretty much inspired us to and inspired our guts, kind of set us up on a good foundation going into the holiday season when everyone's busy and inviting us to parties and things like that for eating. And so we decided to do a 3-day dopamine type of fast. So this included like a fruit feast, as well as no technology, no Wi-Fi. We went to a separate space that was neutral to us, that we weren't familiar with, that we didn't live at, that we hadn't visited before, and a space that was actually very intentionally constructed for healing and centeredness. So it was like a dark room cabin where they would host dark room retreats, and it was, a grounded building with copper wire through the floor. And yeah, there's just no EMF radiation within the vicinity. There was an organic garden on the premises, like there are everywhere here. And yeah, so we were able to sleep in complete darkness. And we also chose to incorporate, silence during this 3-day um, meditation ceremony retreat for ourselves, reset. And so what that looked like for us was pretty much no speaking with words throughout the day at all. For us, we started on the evening of our first day arriving. We kind of did like a letting go ritual, say some mantras, do some ohms, just kind of wiggle and shake things out. We created like a plan, like an agreement plan about what would we like, because if you can't talk, then how are we gonna get through the next, few hours? Like, so we had to be strategic about what we were gonna do with our energy, since we weren't gonna be talking, but we needed to accomplish things like meals and collaborating on certain things or communicating certain things. So we set aside 1 hour in the evening after sundown for us to talk after the first day. And we used that hour, and then we actually ended up kind of just opening that portal and speaking more, because we were very intentional about what we were speaking. So it was very healing and enlightening for us that first day of speaking in the evening. We spoke until we don't know what time it was because the room was dark, but we're pretty sure it was maybe like 2 or 3, 4 in the morning. And then we had an agreement for the next day where we would also do silence, no speaking, and also no eye contact, so that we really can just have the experience of, sharing space with others and with our other, but not really allowing their energy to influence ours, at least not their thoughts, because we can't communicate thoughts without the words. So that was really beautiful. And we had an agreement that we would speak for 2 hours on that evening, because it was going to be New Year's Eve, and we could be more intentional with some uh, but it turns out we mutually agreed to not speak anything that day. And we just ended our evening and just went to bed at a decent time. And it was great. It's like everything that needed to be said was said, or we just had an awareness that, well, there's nothing to say. Like, we are here and now, and we feel everything that is more subtle in the energies within ourselves and within the surroundings. So that was cool. Another thing, and Christina, feel free to interrupt me if something comes to mind as I'm kind of chronologically going through this. But one more detail I wanted to add in was that there were like a pull-up bar, some weights and yoga mats, and hiking trails nearby. So we had the ability to go hiking and completely explore nature. And but we spent a lot of time meditating. I did a lot of exercising every day. It was nice to establish those habits without having the distraction of a device to pick up and get distracted for 2 hours and maybe not accomplish um, your list for the day. So, and on top of the exercise and fitness and wellness equipment, there was not an extensive, but a very intentional, um, beautiful library and set of books that they had available for us. And it was just, our vibration, who we were, who we are on our journeys, really kind of aligned for us to call in the specific set of books that were there for the amount of time that we had. They were long enough, short enough, complex enough, simple enough, familiar enough, new enough, for us to really spend time reading. Um, Mostly we read this one book called Raw Vegetable and Fruit Juices, written by Norman W. Walker, written in like maybe 1938 and revised a few times. So definitely I'll be able to share a PDF copy of that book with you guys, because it's very difficult. I print. And let's see, Robin has a chat here. Can you expound on how the day 2 was with no eye contact and just being in each other's presence? I'll let Christina share if she'd like to. Christina, if you'd like to share, how was day 2 with no eye contact and being in each other's presence? What was that experience like for you?
It was it was liberating. Um, it felt I felt at ease and I felt like peace just being in space with you and then just being able to experience going deeper off grid because where we live, we're already off grid in a sense. And yeah, it was very beautiful. It was a very intimate experience. We were definitely letting go and shedding so many different things. Um, Whenever I felt the urge to say something or do something, I just kind of I was able to look at it with a certain type of awareness that it's not really necessary. And it just it was a great experience to show me how much I can like grab hold of something and want to like focus on something or dive deep dive into something, whether that's through having a conversation with someone or with movement. And so when you're not talking to someone, when you're not looking them in the eye, it's just very interesting the different ways that you try to find to communicate and also feel the urges in your body that happen from when you don't use those talking muscles or when you're not doing what you're used to doing in communication. So when you're switching it up and you feel your body trying to do its natural thing, it's just so interesting. It's like it's a beautiful experience to have and to really share it with someone. It makes it fun. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Christina. And yeah, I totally agree. It's like liberating in a way, where you just don't have to come up with the right thing to say, which I think is probably something we all have experienced challenges with or awareness of the resistance. Yeah, like no pressure to speak. There's never pressure to speak or entertain anyone else or fill the space. There's the need, the itch to fill the space um, in order to, I don't know, try to, fix your reality with words. And it's like, yo, reality was so cool without words. So it's just a form of minimalism, like a little practice in voluntary simplicity and minimalism, and really just being very intentional about what it is you choose when you're going to choose something, whether you're going to choose to say something, whether you're going to choose to listen to others speaking. It's like makes you very intentional and conscious and aware of like, what am I taking in? What am I putting out? Is it helping? Is it not? And yeah, I was talking to a friend the other day, and he was talking about this scene from Breaking Bad, or maybe it's called Saul or something like a spinoff of Breaking Bad. And two guys, it's like two guys were arguing, right? And you know how two people are arguing, and you're maybe the third man out. There's a third man kind of onlooking, and halfway through the argument, he comes in with his opinion, like, "Well, actually, I think." And then the two people arguing, you just look at each other like, you don't know what's going on here. Like, just stay out of the conversation. Like, you're not helping. Like, we're perfectly fine disagreeing the way we're disagreeing right now. Like, stay out. Stay in your lane. But in the show, the dude, one criminal, he was like trying to handle some business, and his little criminal homeboy was like, "Yeah, man, blah 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 blah," just throwing in his 2 cents. Criminal goes over there like, so in the original Blake Breaking Bad, I believe this scene was the criminal goes over there and just beats the brakes off of his comrade, like, because he's just a loose cannon. He's just like da 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 da. So in this spinoff, his new reaction was just like he walks over to his friend, he goes, "Stop helping." And he just like death stares and like it was the most awkward thing, but it was just like we've all been there. Like, stop helping because the help is really not is it's making it worse. There's so many situations where you rather just get it done the way it's going, and the assistance from the outside is just not. So less is more. We're human beings, not human doings, and it seems like we've done a lot that has led us to where we are with a lot of awareness, and we're mostly really wise about what not to do. We know a bunch of stuff that doesn't work. So she says, was there a deeper energetic connection? Could you feel each other more intensely? Yes, and not necessarily more intensely, just like more consistently aware of our own center and of the space in which we come together, and like what that energetic vortex, what that co-created world looks like when we come together. Um, it's just, yeah, could you, yeah, feel each other more intensely, deeper energetic connection? Yes, because the connection is with the self, really. So the partner experience is just like icing on the cake of really having a reflection there to tempt you to be something, in your shadow self, or to just play with stuff. That's probably a little bit more challenging than maybe doing it alone, or because you have the accountability, you have the reflection. Um, you have the debriefing of being able to talk to someone in the evening. I mean, imagine like it's 3 days off grid with nobody, no technology, in solitude. It's also very, very powerful and uh, very healing and enlightening. Before Christina was cohabitating with me, um, in terms of like solitude has been my new favorite thing, in the past few years. It's literally why I live and why I travel the way that I do. It's great to meet and come into other contact with other beings. And yet, we all become aware of our capacity when our cup becomes so saturated and full. And so I believe for people who have the opportunity to experience solitude and they can really be okay with themselves, oh, it's such a gift. Um, and it's such a level of living that most humans really don't ever get to experience, because most humans live in community, live in families and homes, and even work, have to go work around. You have to engage with people all the time, even especially people you don't choose to engage with. So that's something I've really mostly eliminated from my life, with the exception of when I decide to go into a matrix of some sort and like engage with capitalism and like buy things and like attend event. Like a friend of mine he just moved into a new house, so he just invited me to a housewarming party tomorrow. And it's like I really have to like sit with myself and see, like, do I really want to like, I love him and them, and I love the whole idea of it, especially when I think about past versions of myself, right? Party animal, college, like traveling, socializing, events. And when you spend so much time alone, one of the most things you can daydream about is what you would do with other people, you know? So it's really great to have those opportunities, but to really have another expanded awareness where I'm really aware of my choice and what the consequences of my choices. Like, I'm really, really hyper aware of that in a way that's very helpful. Because I mean, if I wasn't aware, I'd still be going around making choices and probably disliking most of my outcomes. Whereas now I at least understand the outcome because I am who I am. So yeah, that's a little bit. yeah, we also made an amazing kale salad, and we just had such clarity and awareness that it was just like when it was time to leave the the space and re-engage, re-enter the world, so to speak. Um, on January 1st, we came down from the mountain. Um, there were lots of things that we played with in our mind. There's always the, oh, what am I going to do once I'm free again, or what am I going to eat once I'm off the fast, or what am I going to do on the internet once I can use it? What am I going to say once I can speak? It's just like, okay, now I can, dang, I'm more free than I ever thought I was. Like just by taking something away and you become more comfortable without these excess things. And it's like, wow, like I am going to go back into the world where they use money and phones and words. So how am I going to use these things? Because I was really good without any of that stuff for like 72 hours. So like, how am I really gonna use the tools and not let the tools use me? And you know, let those things navigate my entire experience. It really was an incredible experience, Raquel. So it's something most people have the ability to do and create for themselves, but it's really, do you have the willpower? Do you have the willingness to do it and just then the discipline to stick through it for 1 day, 3 days, whatever. So feel free to reach out in the group if you guys would like specialized help, individualized help on what setting up and designing your own um, dopamine retreat. Or I also did mention we didn't do any smoking or any stimulants, other than a little bit of salt in the kale, but that's pretty much it. Mm, yeah, so feel free to reach out in the Dream Body Academy if you guys want some personal help from me and or Christina with what it looks like to set up an experience like that for yourself in your own world, in your home, in your room. I would say it's probably really beneficial to do at home as well because you kind of christen your own space to be that which you want it to be. Um, for us, it was beneficial to change the environments because we all get comfortable in a certain environment. So you can use that, what you call habit stacking, where you change one habit, change some other habits to go tandem with that so that it's all one neurological association for you. So we go to a new space, we put in some discipline with our new habits or some consistency, and then we come back to our familiar space, but we know how we want to feel. So we just do the things that remind us of how we want to feel rather than slipping back into old patterns and old habits. It's like, come on, what's the difference between now and the 72 hours of eating right, speaking not at all or very consciously? What's the difference? And it's like, okay, maybe I'm eating starch. Maybe I'm on this phone too much. Maybe dang, it's not even me. I'm just re-stimulated again. And I'm like a baby that's crying, the outside world don't speak my language. I don't speak my own. Most of the time, we don't even speak our own internal language of feelings. We don't even interpret our own reactions, well. And so we're misinterpreting everything, and it's mostly because of too much noise, too much stimulation. So just quiet the noise. And the number one thing for us was really the intestinal clarity, the reading of the books, the juicing book I mentioned. There was a book about the law of attraction from Esther and Jerry Hicks or Abraham. And what else? There was another book like Quintessential Natural Hygiene, a book written by a really profound brother, like an Indian brother, um, who's put in the work of research and years of healing. And it's just great to really have access to all these books that are not in mainstream circulation. Um, but people really took time to like live their lives and write books and get them published and like pass them along like since the hundreds of years ago. So that was the new year. So what's coming up for me right now, Christina and I, we've been like, you could say refeeding, but really just integrating the value of our feasting and fasting and meditating experiences, integrating those value points into our daily walk and into our forward movement. So really just focusing more on what we desire and how we do want to remain hydrated and have lots of juices and use more of the vegetables in juice form and use more of the greens and be more hydrated and eat more fruit and be more mindful, do more meditation, more movement. Um, yeah, being very conscious with internet usage and screen time and just how things make us feel. I think our hugest lesson was really tapping into that inner guidance system and trusting that. And fasting from stimulation, from technology and stuff really helped to quiet the external noise so that we could really hear and feel more of our internal guidance system and how it's always speaking to us. And giving ourselves time and space to really sit with our feelings, to allow them to teach us. Because many times we just kind of choose to suppress it because, oh, I'm just going to, whatever, we'll suppress it, we'll put it off till later, we'll stuff it down with some food or some stimulation and these things just build up. So the life is kind of a reflection of the mind, and the mind is a reflection of the gut. So really, we just be having like noisy guts, and we just need to simplify things and let the river cleanse itself out. So I do have a solar return coming up in about a month and a week. So it'll be like dirty 30, 30 years old, 30 revolutions around the sun for me. And I don't know. I never really get excited about birthdays, but once again, it's one of those things that's happening whether or not you give it attention or not, you know. So since it's happening and I'm getting more mature, getting more wisdom, and I'm gaining uh more steps and more points in the world, as we call it, you know, you accumulate something that the world recognizes, whether it's age, years, maturity, money, whatever. Prince stopped giving attention to his age before his transition. Yeah, like I have a few friends that really don't do the age thing. I mean, even myself, I forget how many years I normally turn. Like between my ages of 26 and this year, I always actually get confused about which age that I am. Because when you're talking about it, you're like, oh, I was just I'm telling a lot of stories from the year that I was 25 or 26, or talking forward about what age I'm gonna be and what I'm gonna do before that time or whatever. Just our awareness of time and stuff is kind of always taking us out of the here and now. Um, so that's neither here nor there. But 30, it's like cool. Like if I'm gonna just stop paying attention for 5 or 6 years, which I have, it's kind of cool to start paying attention when you hit another milestone, something like 30, 33, 35, a mid-decade, 40, 50, 60, 70. It's like what is your sort of milestone and what makes it a milestone for you? Let's not make it about a number, but more so about what they call it's not the number of days in your life or the number of days. It's not about the number of experiences in your life. Well, but the amount of life in your experiences and the number of days, the number of just the quality, over the quantity basically is what I'm getting at. There's a lot of ways to put it. But yeah, so what I've decided to do is I've been doing this for about 2 or 3 years, ever since I learned from Dr. Aris Latham about his yearly feast of life and his other cyclical fasting protocols, fasting with one day per week, like a Sabbath, um, fasting on liquids or water during the solstices and the equinoxes, as well as with the new moons and the full moon turnarounds and just allowing the body to transition easily throughout these phases by not taxing the body with digestion. And so that's been working really well for me. And so for the birthday, he always does uh, a juice fast of the number of days equal to the year, the age that he will turn. So last year, I attempted about 29 days of juices or at least fruits and fully raw, like really just a lighter diet than normal. But ideally, if you can really do a reset of just liquids or fruits, it's really impactful. So I think I did maybe 2 weeks last year, and the year before maybe I did about a week or two before I just was personally decided to. enjoy where I was at because I'm always traveling. A lot of times I feel like I get the benefit that I was coming for. So for me, it's not about honoring any particular arbitrary numbers or like what's the difference between 29 days and 30 days. It's about your experience and what you're going for, right? So, but this year I am sense of at least 30 days on primarily liquids, being open to solid fruits and hydrating solid foods. But I can also really appreciate the benefits of not chewing and not eating food. So I'm sure within that time I'll definitely be going at least like 7 full days of juices, or maybe I'll start more rigidly and loosen up as I get towards my birthday to break fast. Maybe I'll start more loose, which I don't really see myself doing. When I say loose, I mean maybe I'll start with juices and some smoothies and some fruits and a salad, like starting fully raw, and maybe towards the last 2 weeks really honing in on the juices and stuff as I'm just really clarifying more and more my energy and smoothing out that process, because it's also about managing life, right? And your environment, your circumstances, your just making decisions. But realistically, I'm super looking forward to it. And I already visualize everything kind of being super enjoyable. I live in the tropics in I'm in Ecuador, and realistically, it's almost easier to, at this point, it's actually probably easier to fast when I leave home, especially if I were to leave Vilcabamba. It's like it's better off just getting a coconut or some fruit juice, which is available everywhere, than it is to experiment with something that someone else has cooked or prepared or something like that, and just knowing it's not going to feel good and putting the probability of how it might taste in someone else's hand. At home, super easy to fast and feast. And at the same time, it's challenging when I'm so creative in the kitchen and there's lots of food growing. And sometimes it's just easier to think about steaming some squash than it is to think about juicing it or making a raw soup, both of which I know how to do and how to benefit and enjoy that. So it's going to be a fun experience, kind of like with the talking thing. It's like, we could talk and break the talking fast, but nah, it's actually fun to get over the hump and just observe internally what's happening um, with our emotional fluctuations. So that's what happens when you fast. You just get emotional fluctuations. Um, there's no fear around like health or energy for me. I know what to do if I have low energy or if I'm uncomfortable. Um, Pretty much, yeah, I've prepared my lifestyle to really be able to enjoy basically living on living foods. It's actually the way I put it the other day. It's it actually someone was, they were like, "Oh, Jordan, you don't have to try to fast or something like that and do so much struggling to try to get to where you're trying to be." And I know this person meant well when they were telling me this, but from where I am in my journey, the struggle comes from actually not honoring my integrity and honoring my higher self. So it's actually more challenging, realistically. Even in the short term, maybe there's instant gratification of, oh, I'm gonna have this gluten-free vegan cake instead of only having living foods today. Or yeah, I don't know what's another example, or but so it's easy to make that small lapse in judgment, but overall, it's like life becomes more difficult realistically when your colon is moving slowly and you're not hydrated. So it's actually more challenging not eating living foods. I feel like that's actually the struggle. Like all the struggling comes from trying to eat cooked food, to be honest. So the only struggle with eating living foods is the consequences of um, the consequences of not having eaten living foods your whole life and just dealing with that. And so dealing with what's already clogged up inside of you, dealing with habits that have already been created. That's actually the most challenging thing. But once again, when you realize if those habits have been serving you or not, then what are you actually sacrificing by giving up non-working habits? So let's see what Raquel said. So your goal for your solar return ties into the lesson about how to detox. Is it mostly about juices or just raw foods? Good question. So based off of Dr. Arisa's philosophy, John Rose's philosophy, my personal experience with liquids and living juices, Christina's experience with juices, my experience coaching people onto a certain lifestyle, and pretty much juices, smoothies, or salads being like people's saving grace in terms of moving them towards the direction they want to be. Um, but realistically, yeah, I'm really just inclined towards the fiber-free juices and just how, especially through reading these juicing books and stuff like that. And it's like I've experienced these things in like small spurts of 7 days juices. I've never gone more than 7 days on only liquid juices. So that's been my experience. I have done 30 days on fruits, and I'm a big proponent of eating fruits only. However, realistically, it actually takes a little bit more discipline to eat only fruits than it does to juice because you don't have to eat when you juice. You get to drink and it satiates you, and you kind of get to cheat the quality of your foods. Like you can mix mid to high to low grade quality produce in different flavors. You can put a bunch of low quality vegetables, but if you juice it with pineapple or apples, it's going to taste amazing, for example. Whereas if those fruits are not tasty, it might be a little hard to eat them on a fruit diet if your fruit quality is not that good, if you don't have energy, all that stuff. So there's challenges to every side. But I personally like realistically, when I have a really, really good fruit, I can't imagine doing anything other than just eating it the way it is. So that's my personal relationship with fruit that I've developed over these years of reconnecting with our natural food. And once again, that is a downside of juicing. A lot of people do water fasts and juice fasts. But what I've noticed is that it's easier to not eat than it is to eat the right thing. So, and the old phrase goes, any fool can fast, but it takes a wise person to probably break the fast. Meaning, yeah, once you stop eating, it's easy to not eat. But once you start to eat again, most of us are eating things that are problematic and insulting to the body. So it's a yo-yo back and forth. And I really appreciate the all fruit diet because fruit really is the only food category of sweet, juicy fruits, especially that it's literally our natural foods, the only foods that satiate and that appeal to us and that digest with us in their natural, unadulterated, unmixed state. They just are the natural foods for us. And yet, the creation in the Most High has also offered us such a wide variety of plants and ways to use them that can help. It's like the Creator offered us stepping stones and bridges to get back to an hedonistic lifestyle whenever we stray away. So no matter where you stray from, there's always kind of, I don't know what they call it, but like there's always a sort of get back on the wagon. So if you're a meat eater, for example, the example would be being vegetarian. It's like letting go of animal products, you know, allows you more access to your connection with the creator. So, and yet vegetarianism isn't always just the best diet if it's really high in eggs and cheese and things like that, right? So once you're at that level, there's still another bridge extended to you where you still have fruits and vegetables that you can increase that intake to once you're actually so nourished by the divine source energy that you get through food as well as nature and emotional connection, then naturally the most objectionable part of your diet doesn't resonate anymore. You just don't want animal protein. And yet, once you're on an all cooked plant diet, eventually you will sort of plateau because it's not our ideal state. It's maybe above average, and maybe it's not as painful as a meat diet. And yet, still, when we have a lot of cooked, denatured foods in our bodies, we're basically still experiencing the negative repercussions of as I burp and have gas based off of undigested food in my colon. Um, yeah, we're still experiencing a cooked reality. So um, from where I'm at, the next bridge, the juices are a bridge for me that I've noticed really make living light more accessible. in certain circumstances based off what season it is right now, what my lifestyle habits are, what I have available to me, all that kind of stuff, right? So having awareness of your toolbox. I see a question from Raquel. From what I've learned and studied, from what you've learned and studied, would it be okay to go from a standard American diet, cold turkey, to a juice cleanse? Or are there steps one should take before doing an all juice or all water fast? Excellent question. And that's pretty much, in alignment with today's topic of how to detox properly and enjoy it. So from my studies, there is no one universal path to get to a specific point. There's where you're at and what level you're comfortable expanding to in order to um, stay on the positive direction. So for some people, that would mean American to all juice could be so uncomfortable cold turkey that it might not be a wise level of expansion for them. If their mind is not there, if their environment's not there, if their emotions are not there, kind of centered. So, and yet it's all learning experience. So there's no really one way to know what the correct answer is going to be. But realistically, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't take that long to go from standard American diet. I believe if a person um, eliminates animal products for at least as long as they can, like the longest you can abstain from animal products and then go on a living foods cleanse, you're going to be benefiting. Um, at least 3 days. If you're going to do juice fast, it might be beneficial to increase your salads and your fruits and minimize your animal products over the course of a few weeks. Then maybe do like a 1 week vegan challenge for yourself. Just do full on plant based. See how that is. See how you enjoy that. If you can enjoy sustaining that, that's going to be ideal because you'll never want to go back too far into like more acidic, toxic foods. So that's the benefit that I experienced. That was my experience, right? I was vegan, plant-based, cooked, standard American vegan, so to speak. So vegan processed food, starchitarian, all plants, but not the healthiest plant diet. And I was on that diet for about a year. And I would say I was maybe like 30, maybe 30 to 40% fruits during that time because I was having fruit smoothies every morning. Um, but just the not having animal products for a whole year, I think really made my journey into living foods so much smoother than like an omnivorous person that eats flesh that is trying to get on like fruits and juice cleanses overnight. From my observations, people do tend to struggle with that. It can be very uncomfortable. People are surprised by how, think about it. The average person that goes vegan tends like plant-based, starchitarian. They just cut out meat, eggs, and dairy, and they still eat lots of rice, beans, pasta, fruits, and salads. Even the average person who does that recognizes like, yo, I'm going to the bathroom a lot more. And it's not like overwhelming, but it's an observation these people have. So when a person goes from meat to fruit overnight or meat to juices overnight, the level of elimination that their body's about to go through is realistically not that practical for most people to go continue going to work, deal with their emotions, deal with their families and all that stuff. So really don't think that there is no top, there is no end, you know. Like once you go vegetarian, what you gonna do then? I mean, so just enjoy the journey, right? Enjoy all the different experiences of eating and flavors and food that we can have. But I do think it's wise to have these strategic spurts of cleansing and fasting, which kind of boost you along exponentially in your journey, and you pick up good habits to take along in your next 3 months, 6 months. So for someone like Xavier, who I believe is on a standard path right now, I think is a perfect example. He wants to know, okay, what's the right way to incorporate more fruits, vegetables, juices, raw foods? I know that's the answer. I'm sure you feel drawn and inclined that that's a solid like truth that you want to embody someday. But you're like, what's the best way to get there from where I'm at? without screwing some up because this is new territory or whatever. And realistically,
Exactly.
yeah, thanks for the confirmation. And realistically, it's always going to be more beneficial the sooner you can stop poisoning yourself, it's usually always going to be beneficial. Now, if you go cold turkey, we have what you call withdrawal symptoms, the psychological withdrawal, the physical withdrawal from the body and the gut of being hooked on drugs and hooked on certain stimulants over a period of time. Um, so I really like to think about, we call it the crowding out method, where really just focusing on bumping up the biophotons, bumping up the living foods in terms of fruits and vegetables. There's about four main categories of foods, right? We have your fruits, which we'll consider like the sugar category. So sweet, juicy fruits and dried fruits. We have your vegetables, which are have no sugar, no starch, and no fat. So they're fruits are electrical and energizing. Vegetables tend to be neutralizing and stabilizing. Then you have your starches or your protein category rather, which tend to be complex amino acids. Proteins tend to come with some fat as well. And within that protein category, you have, we're not going to talk about animal protein, but you have your plant proteins in the form of grains, legumes, there's protein fruits, and there's nuts and seeds. So those are the protein foods, and those are building, those are magnetic, and those tend to be very grounding. Then you have your starch category, which are complex carbohydrates. So really, it's really hard to live a life where you're eating fruits, simple carbohydrates, and starch, complex carbohydrates. That's a really tricky. It's like, nah, the body has, you have to decide and do one. You can be a starchitarian, but you really have to be very athletic and you have to be active and you have to hydrate a lot. And it still taxes the body over time. We're not naturally starch eaters. Um, but you could be plant-based and be starch, protein, and vegetables, and that's going to work as an amazing transition diet for people. Starch, rather. Ideally, you want to do simple carbohydrates, fruits. Fruits electrical, cleansing, vegetables neutralizing. They kind of slow down detox, keep you from detoxing too rapidly in the form of salads or juices, the vegetable kingdom. And then you have your protein kingdom for building and also for maybe being more satiated um, if you're doing some cleansing or whatever. And they're also like storage food, survival food. So you can store grains and nuts and seeds, and you can sprout those and have those over a long period of time. Whereas fruits and vegetables, you want to eat those fresh. You can dehydrate them, but then you want to rehydrate them, and they still lose vitality. So starches is actually a non-necessary food category. We don't need to eat starch. We should get our carbohydrates from fruits and not tax the body to break down these complex carbohydrates. So based off those four categories, you have a big pie here. And for most people, they're heavy on animal protein, and starch. So those are the first things you want to reduce or eliminate, but it might be difficult to think of reducing or eliminating those. So let's focus on increasing the fruits and the vegetables, right? Um, so just having more fruits, I would recommend for Xavier, who has a juicer now, your foundation should be now incorporating at least 1 liter or 1 quart of fresh vegetable juice in your diet every day. Um, and then increasing that to 2 quarts per day of 1 quart vegetable juice, 1 quart fruit juice. So you're really getting you're just hydrating your system a lot. You're just super hydrating with all the living biophotons. Even if you maintain still eating the regular foods that you ate, your gut flora and your body will start to be more inclined towards healthier foods. Um, that's what I would do with the juicer. On top of having a juicer, I would recommend incorporating a fruit meal per day. So swapping out breakfast and or lunch for just an all fruit meal, whether that be fruit mono meal, watermelon, a fruit salad, a mixed chopped fruits, fruit smoothie, or something like an acai bowl where there's fruits and maybe a little bit of protein, because people like the flavor, the combination of having like nut butter or almonds or chia seeds on top of their fruit. It's not a good food combination overall. But if the only way for you to get the fruits in your body is by having pumpkin seeds with it, then you're actually doing more benefit than not eating any fruits at all. So that's the way we want to think about it. Yeah, bump up the fruits and vegetables, slightly reduce the protein and the starch. and then maybe every week or so, kind of like add on another level of benefit. And but yeah, the juicing, dude. And then basically after maybe a week or two of doing the sort of all plant diet where you've eliminated animal protein completely and eliminated I would eliminate starch for if you can eliminate starch, better as well. But if you can eliminate all animal protein, eggs, meat, milk, butter for 1 week, I would say the next step is to then actually go on like a juice cleanse. Um, where yeah, you can just flush out the system and prepare to then refeed the system with like fruits and salads and vegetables. Um, but you just got to play with it. There's levels, right? So there's like all cooked foods. There's fruits, salads, nuts, and seeds, which is a really good foundation, a really good maintenance diet. You can eat that for the rest of your life. Just fresh fruits, fresh salads, nuts and seeds, smoothies. Um, but for most people, that actual type of diet is actually a detox. So you can do that diet as a detox from your regular diet. But for someone like me, that's my regular diet. So the detox, I need to do something more simple, more I need to be more hydrating and I need to put even less complex things into my body, which is why for me, I'm inclined to using juices to cleanse now because fruits is like a foundation for me. And maybe if I get into the habit of eating only fruits, it's easy to then pick up a nut or a seed or a dried fruit um, or a fatty fruit. And then I'm not cleansing as deeply. So that's my maintenance. But if I want to go deeper, I'm really prioritizing the elimination of solid proteins, all starches, all cooked foods. I'm eliminating those things. Um, Eliminating all solid fats and proteins. I'll be open to have nut milks, basically blended and strained seeds and nuts. Um, and that's just as a sort of buffer if I'm really feeling like, just I'm having a craving and I just want to eat dates and walnuts right now, which is like a junk food for me, which is crazy. I just want to make quinoa. Rather than doing that, I could just like blend some sunflower seeds and drink it, as a milk. And that protein I've noticed that it'll help meet that sort of starch craving that people get. Or sometimes we just want more dense nutrients because we just been so accustomed to having like dense food that emotionally we want to use that to numb ourselves. So it's cool when you can give yourself dense nutrients without numbing yourself. Keep it alive, keep it liquid, and you usually can just go to sleep or get to the next moment. Because once that craving hump happens, once you get over the craving hump, once you get over the withdrawal symptom, and once you're thinking clearly again, it's like, yeah, I'm so glad I didn't eat potato chips when I was craving them because I didn't need that. I'm so glad I just went and had a banana, which is equally starch, but it's live. So, um, to really briefly answer Rake's question, incorporating more organic living fruits on a daily basis and slowly decreasing processed foods at the same time would work a bit better. For most people, that's probably going to work better. There are rare people who are like intense and they just do things overnight and but it's the only way for it to work for me. I'm kind of like that. If I tiptoe in, I can tiptoe out. Like I can always justify backing out the same way I slowly coming in. So that's why I'm also going to do this all liquid fast because it's just easier to be all in than to be like mostly in. You're just aware of you're not getting all the pie if you're only eating
Can
half the
I share,
pie.
Jordan?
Please.
Um, I wanted to say that what helps me to really dive deep into receiving the juices, because Jordan makes a lot of amazing juice and smoothies. And what really helps me to just open up to receive that is knowing that there's life inside of these foods. And there's enzymes inside of these foods that our bodies need, to go about their daily functions. And so the more life we consume, the more life we'll crave. So it's not a matter of, what do I need to do to stick to it? It's like if you just keep eating fruits, your body's gonna crave it because the way that it feels when you eat something that is alive, like your cells, you can feel it in your cells, especially when you're getting good quality fruit and vegetables and you're getting the juice and it's going straight to your cells. You start to feel so good that when you maybe start incorporating denser foods or maybe eating more cooked foods or eating meat, you'll start to see the difference. You'll start to experience the contrast. And so, because of that, you might start to feel a bit uncomfortable. But now well, I know how I felt when I was doing juices. I know how I felt when I was eating salads or making smoothies. I felt good. So, naturally, we just go back to it. So it's only a matter of time. We just have to continue on the journey enough for us to really stick to the habits. So, yes, thank you.
Mm. Thank you for sharing, Christina. And yeah, it's true. You just have to choose something and stick to it long enough to notice a benefit. And that's the benefit of like a 3 day cleanse. Yeah, that's the benefit of a 7 day cleanse or a 21 day cleanse. It's like just do it. And for the most part, you're going to experience such benefits and additions to your lifestyle that you'll really begin to prioritize it just naturally. Like I'm telling you, once I did my first fruit cleanse, it was like, yo, fruit. Like, like, okay, yeah, Jamaican patty, that's good. Yeah, Ethiopian patty, that's nice. But like, I gotta get the fruit. Like, I have to. It's breath, it's air, you know? Like, that's it. So personally, I don't see anything that's not fruit or living food. I don't really consider it as food. I mean, people drink things that are not for hydration, right? And it's called recreational beverages. People breathe things and smoke things that are not clean oxygen. We call it recreational smoking. Well, there's recreational eating too. People just eat things that just taste and feel good to the palate, but or to be social or whatever, but it's not the nutrients that they need. And when I say nutrients, mean I don't even mean like vitamins and minerals, but actually like living sunlight energy, source energy is actually the primary food for us. And there's many ways to get it. Notice how you like lose your appetite when you're just having fun with friends or laughing. Yeah. So let's read another question. How can we start a good detox? So yeah, it really depends on where you're at currently. Um, uh, are we speaking directly to Ra? So the question would be, what does a normal day of eating look like for you? Like maybe it's different every day, but 90% of the days, 80% of the days, what does consuming food look like for you?
For me personally, on a regular day, I would I intermittent fast until about noon or 1 o'clock. So I drink a lot of liquids and teas uh until that time. And then I'll break my fast with some type of fruit, usually hydrating fruits like grapes or melons. Um, and then around 3 or 4, I'll have a cooked meal, um, either like some type of grain and soup or pasta, or like some sauteed veggies or something. Um, and then at night recently, what I've been doing since the I would say
Solstice?
of maybe since the beginning of December, um, I would just drink all liquids until about 10 o'clock.
Hmm. You mean the rest of the day until 10 p.m. You'll finish with liquids after like
Yeah,
late lunch, late early dinner.
after that cooked
Okay.
meal. Yeah.
So the question would be, um, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not a question, but realistically, there's like one part of your day where you're not eating living foods, and it's probably your most calorically dense meal, to be honest. It's like non-living uh, or non-living matter. So,
Yeah, the cooked food.
exactly. So I think the detox for you, like your body would naturally detox if you actually just eliminate the cooked food, right? So if you switched out that cooked soup or steamed veggies or whatever for uh, a nice salad, or a big smoothie, or a raw soup of blended vegetables. Um, if you actually just stopped eating that cooked meal for a few days or however many days, that would be a detox for you. The problem is, or the problem could be, if you try to stop eating that cooked meal, and if that's difficult, then it's like, dang, I can't even do the detox that I'm trying to do, right?
Yes.
So So if that's the case,
Pull that.
then does that does that make sense? Like you ever tried to do like a simple switch? It's like I can't do it. Like I gotta have my honey bun at 3 o'clock every day, and I keep messing up, right?
No, I've done an all raw, uh, uh, like 7, 10 day cleanse before, so it's not.
Right. It's not that difficult for you.
Yeah, it's
So
not
that's the
as.
point.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the thing. And so what it sounds like is that that could be your new maintenance point, and it will be beneficial to maybe detox a little deeper to prepare the body to receive all the living raw foods without making a body that's so receptive to cooked food. And that's what I'm doing as well. It's like my body's still, it's actually not that receptive to cooked food. Like healthy cooked foods, I can tolerate it, but it's still not as ideal as the days where I'm just fully raw, right? So, so I'm creating a body and a system that actually rejects what's unnatural by just spending more time on what's natural. Um, so I recommend for you to do essentially 3 days of fully raw, in preparation for something like a fruit cleanse, a smoothie cleanse, or a juice cleanse. That's
Or
what I would
like,
recommend. And doing the,
so in the group,
go ahead.
yeah, in the group, I posted the question about doing the 3 day water detox. So what you're saying now, eat raw 3 days before I start doing the water cleanse would be best.
Absolutely. And
Okay.
even better, I mean, even better, if you're gonna go on water, it actually makes more sense to do maybe 3 days of juices before going on water.
All right.
Prepare yourself to not be eating. It's like whatever you choose, make it in preparation for what you're about to do, right?
Okay.
So if you're about to be not eating anything, and when you're drinking, there won't be any nutrients. You need to start preparing the gut to not have solid food. And the best way to prepare the gut to not have solid food is a solid food vacation on nutrients, on juices. Um, and so, yeah, the digestive system is already starting to get that break, but you have some energy and some medicinal components in juices to actually prepare you to really just, it's a pre-elimination. So I would do like a juice cleanse, maybe with some herbs as well, to just stimulate releasing any of those cooked meals that have not left the system yet. So you can really enjoy the water fast more than to just have the water fast trying to pull out all of these toxins that could have been loosened up, um, in more efficient ways.
When you say herbs, do you mean like making them into a tea or
So
like
it really depends. Like everybody's body responds differently to things. Everybody's personality responds differently. Um, I really do enjoy putting fresh herbs in my juices.
Oh, mix them together. Okay. I've never considered that. Okay. All right.
Yeah, parsley, cilantro, fennel, um, nettle, like did I say cilantro? Oregano, like dill, mint, parsley, basil, the culinary herbs, like having them fresh and putting them in your juice, but also vegetables, onion, garlic in small amounts, chili peppers, bell peppers, tomatoes. Um, yeah, you can be juicing these kind of turmeric, ginger. Yeah, you can be juicing those things, and those really and stuff. So you can do that, but also there's certain herbs that are like when they're dried and turned into tea or turned into tinctures or tonics, they also have a very effective uh, cleansing or stimulating effect on the organs of the body. So, you know, I don't believe in really becoming dependent on herbs, but like I said, using the herbs strategic, right? So,
You
Cascara
just
Sagrada, Senna.
you just
I'm
broke
sorry.
up. Would you say you said using the herbs and you started to break up? Would you say
Yeah,
that?
using the herbs to help support the organs and support encourage like elimination can be really beneficial in preparation for a cleaner diet or a clean fat or a fast, right? So that can be beneficial. Things like Cascara Sagrada, Sacred Heart, Senna, Cat's Claw, skull. Like I don't know. There's all these different herbs people you get into. You just find what's available, or I mean,
That's fine.
the simplest one I could think of is dandelion. It's like you can just go find them outside everywhere, um, and just forage those things. You can pick out the roots, wash them off, boil them, make dandelion tea, and but yeah, another one I really enjoy is just simply just like a chai, like a really strong chai of like ginger, clove, um, yeah, pretty much ginger, clove, turmeric.
Okay.
It's really helpful if you're preparing for detox because they help eliminate parasites and inflammation and all that stuff. Also there's natural laxatives, for example. So I'm always getting tamarind and I'm always making tamarind juice because it's just gonna send you to the toilet. And it's not like super violent. It's like pretty tolerable, but somehow it just liquefy whatever's inside you, so it helps it come out, and that can be really helpful in preparation for a detox. Tamarind juice. Um, there's certain other fruits like dragon fruit. These fruits
Prune
just kind of start flushing the system.
or prunes, right?
Um,
Prunes.
Melons. You can also do a mono fruit diet, right? You can just do one fruit for 3 days in preparation for a water fast or a fruit fast or any type of detox. Just going really, really simple and narrow to allow the body to start flushing things out, and then go into the next phase. So phase one is always preparation for a deep detox, which is usually just eliminating one toxic category from your body is going to be really helpful for 3 days. Animal eaters can eliminate animals for 3 days, and then go into a fruit diet or a juice diet. Um, Starch-based plant eaters can eliminate starch for 3 days or cooked food and then go into a fruit or a juice cleanse. For your case, you've had experience being raw and you know you can sustain that. But honestly, with the maybe the limited time you have, it's like eating only raw isn't going to go deep enough for you quick enough, and you can tolerate going more deeper into your detoxification, basically simplifying the diet, freeing up energy, and the body does the healing. So that's pretty much what this is all about. Um, so yeah, I would say do a 3 to 5 day transition depending on where you're at. See, for the beginner, like Xavier, I would recommend no less than like a 7 day transition or preparation for fasting. um, just to really allow the meat and the animal stuffs and the oils and the fried foods and the processed foods and all that stuff to gently come out. I would do a 7 day preparation of just eating only plants, lots of fruits and juices. And then after that 7 days, going into a deep detox um, of maybe 7 days on feel what excites yourself. You actually feel like the idea of it will excite you, you know? It won't sound like, oh, that's gonna be horrible. How is that gonna work? If your brain is interpreting the information like that, your gut is really the gut telling the brain that, and so it's just not gonna be in alignment. But when or